16-3 in the postseason and just marched their way through all of the opponents, did not play with their food. I love asking you this question, Slick, because you probably know more about championship teams over the course of NBA history than anybody on national television. So you will take this question with the utmost amount of seriousness and history put into it. Are the Celtics an all-time championship team? One of the greatest ever that we'll be talking about in decades.
No, they are not. They are what I would consider an all-time team because of how they won, because of how they're constituted, because you don't have any transcendent
What's the difference? Because I'm confused, so I know the viewer's confused. All-time team, all-time championship team. Well, what's the difference?
I look at the 2004 Detroit Pistons. Yep. Or I look at the 2019 Toronto Raptors. Yep. Right?
And what are they? Those were
great teams where you didn't have like a transcendent star. The closest thing you had was Kawhi Leonard. But if you look at how they won that series, Kyle Lowry, Fred VanVleet, Pascal Siakam, like they beat you with their numbers. Same with the Detroit Pistons. Rasheed Wallace, Ben Wallace, Chauncey Billups. And very similar thing where Chauncey Billups was the finals MVP.
Like 20 points a game.
It could have been Ben Wallace. It could have been Rasheed. It could have been Rip Hamilton led them in scoring. It could have been any one of those. So I respect and admire how the Boston Celtics won this. But if I'm looking at, like, let's take the three-peat Los Angeles Lakers, who were also a 60-win team. They had to go through the Sacramento Kings with Chris Webber and Vlade Divac. And Mike Bibby. And then they had to go through. They had to go through the Phoenix Suns with Jason Kidd and Anthony Hardaway and John Marion, like great team. And then they go up against the Portland Trailblazers in that epic lob from Kobe where they come back, right? Like, some of it has to do with the path there. And for the Boston Celtics, they didn't have to compete with anybody in the Eastern Conference for the best record. Like, the competition in the East just wasn't the same as in the West. And who did they have to go through in the East to get there?
But, Slick, let me challenge you.
They didn't have to beat a defending champion.
Let me challenge you for a second, though, because you're talking about all-time great championship runs. Not teams, runs. I believe the greatest championship run is Dirk Nowitzki's 2011 championship run. He knocked out Kobe. I believe it was a sweep. You beat Kevin Durant, James Harden, Russell Westbrook. Then you beat the Heatles. I think that's the greatest championship run. But I'm talking about championship team, not the run.
Fair.
Team.
Fair. So
the Celtics not the best, one of the best teams.
Let's look at the first six guys on this team. Like, who there is an iconic Hall? I mean, some of these guys are going to end up in the Hall of Fame.
Probably 3 Hall of Famers.
Okay,
yeah, but you can't go off of saying a great team just because you got star power if the end goal was the same.
But if I'm talking about all-time great teams, I'm talking about teams that are built on players that are iconic.
Well, can we say this? Because I was thinking about the same question the way you're thinking about it. I can't name a team from 1 to 5, from 1 to 6 that's this good, that's put this together, right? Porzingis, we didn't think he was even like that great, but he's solid. Though Al Horford, like just they fits. Yep. They can guard from 1 to 5. They can switch on everything. You got JB and JT, and then on the defensive side, then you add Drew Holiday. Right, and then Derek White can guard. Sure. So when I look at this, not only is the run was phenomenal. They what, 4-1, 4-1, 4-0, 4-1? Yeah, like, that's amazing, crazy. Right? Then you go to the finals, you got offensive scorers like Luka and Kyrie. You basically kind of lock them dudes up. And then when you look at just the team part of it, just the team, I can't, even before Drew got there and they had Marcus Smart, and there was another defensive guy that had.
6 man of years, Brogdon. Michael
Yes, right? So they had Malcolm. So I'm thinking like, yo, this team was already nice. Then you swipe, you get rid of them, and then you add them.
This is one of
the most or best rosters and teams.
They lost
James,
3
weigh
games.
in on the other side of the break. We got a lot more to talk about in regards to this. Celtics, are they one of the all-time great championship teams? Let's not be prisoners of the moment. We're going to be prisoners of facts. That's next.
Let's keep it 1,000.
It's 1 to 7. You could argue 1 to 8. Yeah. They were legit. You think that makes them all-time?
Yeah, no, I don't. And it's I'm going to approach it this way. If I took this Boston Celtics team, do we think that Denver Nuggets last year were an all-time team? All-time championship?
No.
They didn't dominate. Oh, they swept the Lakers, but they didn't dominate. Like
I'm going to say no.
They won the finals in 5 games, though, right?
Yeah. I mean, they beat the Heat. That was like, come on.
Okay.
Come on, bro.
Okay. If you took this Boston Celtics team and you put them up against the Denver Nuggets or the Golden State Warriors or any recent championship teams?
This team
are they
right
beating?
Here.
Yes. Are
I
they
think
beating?
They have a really good chance.
Are they beating those
They're
teams?
beating the Warriors, the 22 Warriors. They're probably the Nuggets might get them.
I mean,
I don't think so. How are the Nuggets gonna get them?
Jokic.
I'm just saying, we're talking
all
we're talking all championships teams, so it could go either way.
Because they play with defense and effort. Not like your boy Luka. They play with all type of everything. Hustle
You
and
know
all
what
that.
would have been a great matchup? The Denver one. Because Denver got size, Boston got size.
That would have been a tough.
Denver got Jokic, but Boston got some bigs, but they don't got nobody to stop Jokic.
Jamal getting locked up.
But not only that, if we're talking healthy, that means that my man Joker got to come out there and guard Porzingis. How that's gonna go?
I'm not too worried about that. I just look at what they. I just look at what they. When I think of all-time great champions, the '95-'96 Bulls, the Lakers when they were in the three-peat with Shaq and Kobe.
Warriors.
Without question.
But they can match up to everybody. Not saying they can beat them and all that, but what do you mean? I mean, like nobody can just guard Michael Jordan. I get that. But I'm saying they don't have a better chance than anybody else because they can all match up, though.
I feel like we are looking at what Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown were able to do in these matchups. And if you're putting up against some of the all-time teams,
Like Kevin
So wait, hold on. In the last 30 years, right? They ranked top 3 in both scoring and defense. That don't always happen like that.
But not only that, I feel like if this was Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, we would be talking different because of the names, of the star power. They have been to finals before. They are in the Eastern Conference Championship almost every year. Like, this is a great basketball team. These two dudes is going to work, and now they just finished the job this year and lost 3 games. I don't care who you play.
There is the thought process of, if you're talking special, eventually if they play the 18 Warriors, Kevin Durant and Steph Curry would have just done what KD and Steph Curry do.
But see,
Michael Jordan would just do what Michael Jordan does.
But these two offensive dudes was special. And look what they did to these two offensive dudes in Kyrie and Luka. So I know what we're saying, but I just don't think we're giving these dudes that much credit as a team.
And I watched some dudes give KD work, too. You forgot?
That happened.
Yeah.
That happened.
And shut him down, too. I couldn't believe it.
Post-injury, but it did happen. It swept them boys. Swept them boys. When we return, Rich Paul, the agent of Bronny and LeBron James Jr., had some shocking words that I just heard. And I got to make sure y'all...
Not high on Dallas. I think their roster got worse. And where will morale be? Dak, we know won't have a contract. CD might. It could be on the board. I'm not going to say that.
On the board?
But I'm looking at these. Look, I think Green Bay is better than Dallas. I mean, last time we saw them, they smacked them upside the head. All right, Houston, I think, is one playoff game in Dallas.
Yeah, no
less. And Green Bay, I think, will be better. Jordan Love, there's no reason to think he won't play at least as well as he did at the end of the season. So I think it's overrated, and Dallas is too high on that.
I think they should have the exact same odds as Philly. I don't really understand why.
Exactly right.
I don't understand why those teams have moved a little bit. Yes. They were the exact same in the NFC East until like 2 weeks ago, and so it's been reflected now in the
Philly
Super Bowl
added
odds.
Saquon Barkley, and Dallas added Ezekiel Elliott and lost Tony Pollard.
Right, and Philly lost the leader of their team and a first-ballot Hall of Famer at center. The Cowboys lost Tyron Smith, but they were dealing without him for parts of the last 2 years. That is, to me, I don't look at either NFC East team is a viable Super Bowl contender at this moment. I don't understand the argument for why there should be more optimism with Philly.
Correct.
Philly got smacked just as embarrassingly in their playoff game, and it was part of a 2-month spiral. Philly, to me, there are real questions about Philly's quarterback. If there's questions about Dak, there are certainly questions about Jalen Hurts.
Dak is better than Jalen Hurts.
Well,
I saw Jalen Hurts in the Super Bowl.
Played great.
I saw Jimmy Garoppolo in the Super Bowl.
I've seen Dak crumble in the playoffs, and I saw Jalen Hurts play great in the Super Bowl.
And he was in a supernatural funk, but he was hurt.
But
y'all laugh about the supernatural funk. You don't buy into any of that. It was something strange, and I'm being serious. It was something strange going on in Philly.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but I don't think that's going to carry on.
No, I agree with you that it was odd. But you are dead certain it's over.
Yes.
What if it's like they figured out their coach is a doofus?
They would have
stopped
fired him.
buying in.
They would have
No,
fired
I'm talking
him.
about the players. The
That's
players
what I'm
don't get
saying,
to
but
fire him.
I think they did an investigation.
They
I
did an
think they
investigation
talked to
about the
players.
supernatural funk?
I think, yes.
Investigation on that?
If they're worth their salt, they did it.
And
All
they were
right?
like,
and they got good front office. You had to find out what in the world happened.
And so they found
And the
out.
players supported Sirianni.
And what's the answer?
I don't know, but they know.
Coordinators.
Well,
that
new
happened during
coordinators
the
is
year.
a big part
Remember
of it.
that during the year they changed it. So they did. I just want to make it clear. It was like an exorcism, like ghost hunters. They came in, they found it, they got it out of the house, and now everything's
players
fine.
supported Sirianni. They clearly made it. We're behind this guy. We like him.
Okay.
Now they could have. I think the players, if they had said otherwise, Sirianni be gone. They talked to freaking Belichick.
Okay. Why'd you whisper that part?
Just for him.
Natural fun.
I think it worked.
A little bit of a poltergeist.
I thought it was good.
Brock